tips and tricks, which is down here. Something that very few people know about is that on the View tab, if I zoom and go to 39% or less, so I'm going to prove that by starting at 40%. So that's 40%. But if I go to 39% or less, range names show up, which I think is pretty cool. So when you inherit somebody else's workbook, one of the things you might want to do is look at the range names by just zooming it down to 100%. Range names of one cell will not show up. So it's 2 or more cells. Go back to 100%. That's my first tip. Second, this sheet has a few tips in it. First is I have a demo for page setup. So on this tab, if I go to print preview, you can see that this sheet has a center header. It's portrait. I'm sorry, it's landscape, not portrait. Row and columns headings are showing, and it has the date and time on the lower right. Nothing special, except on this sheet, if I go to print preview, it's nothing. There's no headings or footings. And it's also portrait. What would I do if I wanted to copy the page setup from this sheet to any other sheet? Well, what I would do is I could control click on any other sheet that I want, and that puts the sheets in what's called group mode. At the very top of my screen, you see the word group, which means that anything I do to this sheet is done to both sheets or all the sheets in the group. Even if I just do that, make that selection, look at the other sheet, same selection. Or if I click on this and go to the other sheet, same selection. So with this sheet active, all I have to do is go to the page layout tab, click on this dialog launcher for page setup, and click OK. I then should take things out of group mode. So I can right mouse click on the tab, do ungroup sheets. Let's go back to need page setup and look at this now in print preview, and you'll see it's landscape. It has the header and it has the date and time. Row and column headings are showing. Going back to this. Here's some quick formatting tips. So all of these have the number 3 in them. But if I use Control plus Shift plus 1, and I'll do it here. I'll use the number 3 here. Control Shift 1, change it to fixed decimal with 2 decimal places. Control Shift 2, change it to a time. Control Shift 3 changes it to a date. It's a format I never use, but I'm sure some people do use it. Control Shift 4 changes it to a dollar notation. And that one's an easy one to remember, at least on a US keyboard. The 4 has a $sign on it. Control Shift 5 changes it to a %. Also easy to remember because on a US keyboard, the % sign is on a 5. Control Shift 6 changes it to scientific notation. And on a US keyboard, there's a little raised to the power symbol called a caret, C-A-R-E-T. Control Shift tilde, that's the character on the US keyboard to the left of all the numbers, changes the format back to general. Now, Control Shift 8 and 9 and don't do anything. And that's a mistake. That should be a 0. But Control Shift 7 puts borders around cells. If I click away, there's a border. And if I hold down the Control key and do several of those, Control Shift 7 puts borders around all of them. It's always a thin border. And Control Shift 0 removes the border. Now I made an odd selection, but Control Shift, oh no, it's Control Shift minus, it was right. Let's put that back. And if I want to get rid of all the borders in the whole thing, I can just select this range, Control Shift minus, and all the borders are gone. I guess if there are any questions as we go along, you could put them in the chat. I'll keep the chat window over here. Okay. Autosum. Suppose I have this range. We'll look at the next range in a moment. And what I want to do is I want to put the totals to the right. Well, here. And I also want to put them down below. And of course, the grand total would be here. Most likely what you would do is click here and either type or do Alt equals. Alt equals, Excel knows how to interpret that. And I just hit enter. And then I can use the fill handle, or I can double click the fill handle, and I'll have the sums to the cells to the left. I can click on here and do Alt equals, and it knows to pick the cells above, and then I can drag off to the right. And I have the solution. No big shakes there, but I'm going to undo all that and show you another way to do that. I'm going to make this selection. I'm including the blank row below and the blank column to the right, and then Alt equals does all that in one step. Okay, moving down to here. Here I have a bunch of cells with some gaps in them. If I hold the Control key down while I select these gaps.
Sorry, can you please repeat it again?
Do it again, what I just did?
Sir, can you please repeat the second method that you have done right now?
Okay, I just make that selection.
Your voice was not audible. That's why.
I'm sorry, you can't hear me?
I'm saying that your voice was not audible. So can you please repeat it again? The second method.
Sure. I'll talk a little more slowly. Hopefully, it'll make it a little easier to hear. I make this selection.
Thank you, sir.
With an extra row and extra column selected, and then I hit Alt and the equal sign, and that does the whole job in one shot.
Sir, you have used the equal sign?
Alt equals, yes. So it's the same as on the Home tab. If I hover over that, you can see it says Alt equals. I'm assuming that's the same on your keyboard. If not, you can just hover over that drop down on the Home tab right above Autosum, and you can see that what the shortcut is.
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay?
Yep,
good.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so now in this section, if I select all the blank cells,
Mr. Robert, if you can repeat this step again.
sure.
Let me please everyone, there are two options. One thing is that the recording will be available, and the other thing is kindly post your question in the chat box so that we can answer. I believe this will be a great way. Thank you very much.
Okay. One last time, I'm just going to select all these cells plus an extra column plus an extra row. With that selection, I hold down the Alt key and tap on the equal sign. That's all there is to it. And if I look at all the formulas, you can see that they're correct. Now, what I just did to show you the formulas, this toggle, is I hold down the Control key and I press the tilde key. That's the key that has this key on it, the back accent. And that's a toggle between show formulas and show values. Okay, so the same thing if I select these. I don't know why I'm seeing this screen. I'm going to do that here. Okay, so if I select this, I'm selecting by holding down the Control key, selecting all these blanks. And again, Alt equals will fill those in with the correct sum formula. And if I look at them.
Excuse me, I cannot see the screen. Can you please turn on the screen?
There's nothing on the screen.
Hold on, let's see what happens here. Can you see the screen or you can not?
Kindly, yes,
Visible now.
Bob, kindly everyone kindly mute your mics and just put your question in the chat box. We are reading and we will be answering. Kindly mute your all mics.
Okay, I don't want to see this screen. And I don't want to delete the screen. So let's try that.
Unmuted.
सर ये किसी का माइक किसी का जो है वो ऑन हुआ हुआ है कैमरे को ऑफ करवा दें काइंडली डिस्टरबेंस हो रही है
कैमरा भी काइंडली ऑफ कर दें और माइक्स भी ऑफ कर दें काइंडली आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है
Okay,
Thank you.
so I'm going to move on to a tab called totals. By the way, I can send this workbook to Abdul, and you can share it with all the people here if you want to do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Sure.
Here I have a bunch of just plain old numbers, and every once in a while I have a subtotal. So this number is adding those cells up, and I keep on going. It goes on and on for a while. And if I go control down arrow, it takes me to the bottom, and I'm at row 134. I want to put in the grand total, and I have 4 suggestions of how to do that. By the way, I just moved that. I did a cut and paste by grabbing the border. This is a cut and paste. So how do you get the grand total in here? What I have seen many times is this one. It's correct, but I've actually seen a formula with this in it that makes the formula bar be at least 2 or even 3 rows tall because people just did equals this plus this plus this. It works, but it's clearly error prone. So instead of doing that way, there are a couple of better ways. One will surprise you. This one, I might as well leave it here. The sum if formula works great. It says there's a sum if syntax, in case you don't know it. There's a range and the criteria and then a sum range. And as long as I'm just noticing it here, when you click after the function sum if, you get this tip, sum if range criteria sum range, to tell you how you do it. But if you want more details, the word sum if, the function name itself, is a hot link to help. So I'm clicking on sum if now, and it should take me right to help, and it's not. And it may be because I'm connected somehow, but you can see that it's a hot link. And normally it would take me right to help, and it's not. But that works if I'm not connected online. Oh, here it is. Move this window away from the shared application. Okay, I don't know what happened. Let's get out of that. Okay. So sum if the range is A1 to A133, that's through here. If that range has the word subtotal, then pick up the corresponding range in column B. So wherever there's a subtotal here, it'll pick up the number to the right. That's a good way to do it. Another way is by using the sum product formula. The sum product of, dismiss that, okay. The sum product of, now if you're not familiar with the sum product, it's a list of, well, let's do it this way, a list of arrays of values, but all those arrays must be numeric. So this range, B1 to B133, certainly is numeric, it's all numbers. But if I just do this, I want to say where A1 to A133 is the word subtotal, that would be a bunch of trues and falses, not numeric. So if I do this, oops, sorry. Try that again. It's a bunch of trues and falses. And that's not how the subtotal is needed. So I'm going to undo that. And that's what the n function is for, because n changes true to 1 and false to 0. So now this is a bunch of zeros and ones. Wherever there's a 1, that's where the word subtotal is. And then it multiplies those two ranges together. And you get the same answer. The best way, surprising, is add them all up. Oh, okay, no, I'm going to show that still. This one comes if I click on here and do alt equals. Excel finds the subtotals for you, which is also cool. If I just enter it, of course, I get the 6,000. But here's the best way. It's not the quickest way. Quickest way is this one, alt equals. But the best one is equals the sum of B1 through B133. Add them all up, divide by 2. What? How does that work? Well, let's take a look. These numbers added together is this. That's what the formula is saying. So the numbers that are highlighted total 540, but there's another 540. So the two of these total 1080, which is twice 540. And each section does the same thing. This 1000 is all those numbers add up to 1000. And I have the 1000 in there, so it's in there twice. So just add everything up and divide by 2. That's a lot better than this kind of thing. Okay, next. All the characters in a font set. So I have just a couple of examples. I have these 3 columns are Arial, Censure, and Tahoma, and every cell in here has the character of the row I'm in. If I just do row, open, close, I get the cell, the row that I entered in. If I do cut and paste it to here, it changes because it's the row that I'm in. So the character of that, at the beginning it doesn't make sense, but as I scroll down, I get some characters like the 0 happens to be a character 48 equals char 48. This is 0. So this whole thing is the entire character set for each font. Now, why is that useful? Well, first of all, if you like print this out and hang it near your computer and you need to type a pound sterling, you now know that you can type in character or char 163 equals char 163. Just entering it will give me a pound sterling sign. However, here's the trick part. If you know the row number, if you type the row number with a leading 0 on the numeric keypad, not the numbers above the letters, but the numeric keypad, and holding down the Alt key, then you type that thing directly. I'm now holding the Alt key. I'm typing 0163. I let go, and there's a pound sterling. So you can find your favorite characters. Like I like to use degrees, which is 176. So I can say the temperature is 27. I hold down Alt 0176. Let go. There's a degree symbol. Now on webdings and wingdings, you get a whole bunch of other possibilities. And I don't know if in this audience we have a bunch of advanced users of Excel, but this character, notice it changed. I'll show you how that works. If I need checkboxes in my worksheet, and I go to the Developer tab and I insert a checkbox, and then I make copies of that, and I'm bringing it down to here, and I make more copies, and I have all these checkboxes, and etc. Make a whole bunch of checkboxes. If for some reason I need to hide some rows, and you can hide a row by Control-9, that didn't get hidden. Matter of fact, I don't know which one this is. I could tell if I change the tab of the text, but it's hard to hide them all. I'm going to undo that. So there's all the checkboxes. Of course, they work. But if instead they are characters, like that, I click on that, changes to a checkbox. Click on it again. It's like it's a checkbox that works fine. But what it's going on is I'm going to look at there's a little bit of VBA going on in the background. If I view the code here, when I change the selection, I'm saying if the target's name is Wingdings, then if the target value is O, then make it this. Otherwise, if it's this, then make it that. So this code is running to make the changes happening. And there happens to be, I believe it's 111, row 111, Wingdings. Yeah, there's the Wingdings. Notice it changed. And 254, that's that. So I changed these two so that if I now hide these rows, it's not a problem. Those two, they just disappear because they're regular text values. Okay. Alt-7 is a quick way to get a bullet. Alt-7, the NK means numeric keypad. So hold down the Alt key at a 7, let go, there's the bullet. Alt-3, 4, 5, and 6, 3, let go, and 4, let go. Alt-5, let go. Alt-6, and I get cards of a deck. I then take these two if you want, and I made them red.
Please, camera, the person who is watching, listening the video with his child, please turn off the camera.
I'm sorry? I did not hear that. If you want to put it in the chat, that would be more useful, I think.
But I'm asking the person who is watching the video with his child, please turn off his camera.
I do not understand that.
Kindly, yes, just one. Kindly, whoever has the camera on, kindly off the camera and mute your mics, please. Go ahead, Bob.
मौलवी साहब कामली
Okay.
अपना कैमरा ऑफ कर दें। मौलवी साहब बच्चों को आप लेके बैठे हैं, कैमरा अपना ऑफ कर दें काइंडली प्लीज।
This, I shouldn't be seeing this. If I move this off the screen.
मौलवी साहब को आवाज ही नहीं आ रही।
Yes.
Okay.
Kindly off the camera. HP, kindly off the camera, please. Mr. Bob, go ahead, please.
Yes. Go ahead. Okay, good. All right. So here's formatting errors often. I'm going to, if I have each of these is this divided by this. So I'm getting 10 here because it's A3 divided by A5. Same thing here. Same thing here. This one has a case that says if I'm dividing by 0, that is if A5 is 0, then show nothing. So if this is 0, this was hidden by number formatting. This is hidden by conditional formatting. This is what happens usually when you divide by 0. You get the div 0 error, and this is handled by the formula in here. But how do I do it with number formatting and conditional formatting? First, the number formatting is, if I look at the number format in here, I see that it's black in square brackets and then pound, comma, pound, 0. The number format is black. But if it's not a number, it's not black. For example, if I type hello, you can see in the formula bar I typed hello. When I enter it, nothing shows. If it's a number, 123, it does show because of the number formatting. So black, and either this, or I could do general. The color in square brackets overrides that, and I happen to also have this as a white font. That's why nothing's showing as text. Oops, I just overrode something here. No, it's a white font. And black general font white. White. Okay. Now that doesn't make sense. That should not be showing anything because it's a white font. Interesting. Well, I'm not going to spend time doing it. Conditional formatting. The rule in here, this should apply only to, all right, edit the rule. It says if it's an error. Actually, let me do this from scratch. I'm going to delete the rule. So now I get divide by 0. So this conditional formatting, new rule, formula to determine, and it says equals is error, C1, C2. And if it's an error, then I format it with a white font. So divided by 0 errors don't show, but numbers would show. I have that backwards. Oops. Equals A3 divided by A5. And okay, that's 0. Okay. Moving on. How to show only unique values. So this list can only contain unique values. So maybe social security numbers or part numbers, etc. Well, I have a question here. How to customize a negative number in the format as red font, color 20. Okay, let's just do that. Let's format a negative number as red. So I click in here, click on custom, and I can have, well, first of all, a lot of them have it. You see the square brackets here? This is separated by semicolons. So to the left of the first semicolon is positive numbers. This is negative numbers. And another semicolon would be how to display a 0, like I can do the word 0. And I click OK. So I put in a 1 and it says 1. I put in a 0 and it says 0. I put in a -1 and it's in red. I hope that helps. Okay, so here, if I put in the number 7, it's fine, or 77, okay. And I put it in again, unique values only. Cancel, let's put in a 4, unique values only. So you're welcome. So this is how it's done. There's a formula called COUNTIF. And if the range, let's use this range, COUNTIF that, comma, for the first one. And this counts how many of that range is this. So the 3, that says there are 3 ones, and here they are. Let me fix the range so I can move that down. So if I copy that down a bit, let's move it closer to here. Oops. Cut and paste here. So that's the ones. The 2s, there are 5 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the COUNTIF, when the COUNTIF is just a 1, it's unique. There's only 1 3 in this range. So this whole thing was done by data validation. And I'm saying I'm allowing the COUNTIF of all of column D for D1, which is the active cell. It'll apply the active cell to every cell in the column. I'm allowing it to be a 1. If it's other than a 1, I give it an error alert, unique values only. Okay, supposing you now understand that, but you already have a list. Like, let's make a list here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 5, 6, 3. I have this list. I'm going to apply that new data validation to it. I'll do settings, custom formula, and the formula is equal COUNTIF. Let me move this out of the way. The range is H1 to H8. For H1 equals 1. Oops, not -1, equals 1. And this has to be fixed. So absolute. That didn't alter it. I can't re-enter any of these. Like if I try to re-enter this 3, I get an error. I didn't put in the text, so this is an Excel error. So how do I do it after the fact? Well, you have to first identify the errors with circle invalid data. And when I do that, for some reason this takes a while on this workbook, and there it is. It circles the invalid data. All you can do with these circles, and you can't print them, they don't show up, even though I have more than one page here. That's the other page. You can't select them, you can only look at them. So you fix them, like maybe this 2 should have been a 2.1. Disappeared. Now the 2 should have disappeared. Let's see if I scroll away and scroll back, no. But if I recalculate, it'll go away. And the 3, let's make that a 3.5. That one disappeared. If I re-enter this, that's gone. But I can also go to here and say clear the validation circles and then come back and check it. Nothing, except this takes a while. Shouldn't have done that again. Okay. I was asked to repeat, but I'm not sure what it is you want me to repeat. Which version of Excel? I'm working on the very latest version. I have this new thing called dynamic arrays. For example, if I put in, equals unique, if I spell it right, unique of this range, and just enter it, I get 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are unique values there. Or if I put equals sort this range, it's now the same range but in sequence. There's a whole bunch of new features in here. I'm not going to spend time on that. Okay, moving on. Filling holes. Suppose I have this set of data, and my task is to sort by region within state. Now, these are state abbreviations in the US. So if I sort from region within state, I might try to do, well, let's bring up the sort dialog, and I'll do sort by state, add a level, then by region. Okay, I get this mess. That doesn't help at all. So I'm going to undo that. In order to sort this, I need to fill this down, put all the PAs in there, put all the WAs, put all the NYs, the TNs, and so on, and then also fill this down. Now, in this particular data set, it only goes to row 99, but it would still take a while to do this correctly. Yeah, dynamic arrays are amazing, Mohammed, I agree. And I'm going to show you how to do that easily. So you do an F5, which is go to, click on special, and I'm going to select blanks. And all the blanks are selected all the way down. Now, if I happen to have been using a different part of the worksheet, like if I was here and I just put on an X, and now I decide to do a go to special blanks, I have a lot more than I want. Oops, there it is. I don't want that. So I make this selection first, and the go to special will select the blanks within that selection. So that'll help. Without touching the mouse or anything, I type an equal sign, I hit the up arrow. So each of the blanks is going to be the cell above. I hold the control key down, hit enter, and it's ready for sorting. I can now come here and I'll go back to that same sort. Sort by state, add a level, then by region. Okay. And it's fine, except I no longer have the syntax I had before. So from the Home tab, find and select, go to Formulas. Hit the delete key. All done. It's in the original format. Okay. Moving along. By the way, let me undo a bunch of that and show you something here. While it's like this, I don't have to bring up the sort dialog. If I sort them in the reverse order, that is least significant to most significant, if I go to the Data tab, I click in the region area and I click this, click in the state area, and I click A to Z. And this is the same as bringing up that sort dialog. Please repeat after F5. I don't know what you mean by F5. Okay. The F5 go to. From go to, I click on special. And then I clicked on blanks. And that's how I selected them to begin with. You know what? This is useful, so let me do this in the very beginning. So from here, I make this selection. I do an F5 special blanks. Okay. And whatever the selection is, I do equals up arrow and control enter. That fills the selection with whatever the active cell is. So if I have this and this and this, and I put in hello, control enter will fill them all with hello. X, control enter will fill them all with X. So that's how that worked out. Skip blanks. You've probably seen when you do a paste special, let's do a copy and then a paste special. You see the skip blanks. I want to show you what that really means. Kasim, I believe this recording is available. If someone can confirm that, because I'm not making the recording. I think Abdul is. Anyway, if I select all these, the alphabet obviously, and I copy it, if I click in here and paste, I destroyed what was there. But if instead I do a paste special and I say skip blanks, what that means is what I'm copying from, if there are any blanks in it, don't paste them. So I click OK, and they kind of merge them in. Would sorting disturb the above cell selection? Going back to here. No, obviously it worked fine. So you mean that when I click on the data tab and sort this, the second sort, oops, worked. I should, yeah, okay, that worked fine. Click in here first. So now all these are together, all the norths, all the souths, but I want them within the state. So now I click on the state. Looks like I have all norths and souths anyway. But it works, trust me. It does, it's the same, it doesn't throw it off any more than this would throw it off, doing this correctly. Okay, skip blanks we did, distribute. Okay. Kasim, go ahead, have a good one. So if I have these values and I want to distribute numbers in here so that each number is the same distance from the number above and end up at 554, you need to either do some sort of formula like this, C15, that's 554, minus C1, whatever that is, divided by the number of rows between them. And I get this. That is, if I do equals the cell above plus this as an absolute, E2, and I drag that all the way down to here, the next number, if I add it again, continue, I will get, oops, turn that off, this difference, hold on, equals this minus this is that should be the same all the way down. Yeah, it is. So it's exactly the same difference, but it's not clear. It's not, it's annoying to try to have to figure this out. I mean, especially if this number, the position changes, the difference changes. So that works. But Excel is pretty cool in that what I could do is I could select both of these numbers. And I go to the Home tab and I do Fill Series. And as long as that's selected that way, Excel tells me what the difference is. Same number. If this were down here and I select all that, Fill Series, and here's my new number. So Excel already figured that out. Okay, tab names. You might like this. Hope you do. This is only with the dynamic arrays. So left over from Excel 4 days, there was some names that you can use or macros that you could use. So let me go here and click on Name Manager. I have something called tab names. You could see in the, let me close that. This is started with a apostrophe, so that's not going to evaluate tab names yet. But tab names is an involved formula. I'm going to copy it so you can see it here. I'll put in a quote. And it's the sort of the transpose. Now, transpose is not a dynamic array function, but sort is. Transpose of the middle of, now this is the Excel4 find. Get workbook 1 is a list of all the tab names in the workbook. But it also, it's appended by the name of the workbook. So we don't want that. In there will be a find of, it will be a right bracket. Anyway, since you will have this workbook, what happens, and if you do have the dynamic arrays, I'm going to take off that leading quote and just plain old enter it, and I get all the tab names sorted, including tab names. I'm not going to spend time on dynamic arrays, but it's quite powerful. And you could even wind up putting this inside of a hyperlink have a table of contents sheet so that when I click on one of these, it takes me to that sheet. It's really cool. Okay, change row height. If I look at this tab and I print preview it, I got accounting and personnel and next page, IS. Just, it's short, but you get the idea. What I want to do is that when it changes, I want to not insert a row, but I want this row to be higher, taller, so that when it prints, I get a clear break. Now there's only 2 of them here, so let's add a couple more. Let's do tax, and let's do bowling. The bowling department. You need something like that in every corporation. Anyway, so I'm going to do it with a formula. And the formula is going to take advantage of the go-to special. When there are formulas that you've chosen, you can have either numbers or text or logicals or errors or any combination of that. I'm going to pick 2 arbitrarily. I'll just pick the first 2, numbers and text, to make a distinction, and you'll see where this is going. So row 3 is the first possible row that there will be a change in department. So I'm going to have to do here, if the cell above and to the left is not equal to the one on this row, then I'm going to put on a 1, otherwise I'm going to put an X. So I'm using numbers and text. Then I'm going to double click the fill handle, and wherever there's a 1, you see is the new department. Okay, while that's selected, I'm going to go to special formulas, and I only want the numbers. I don't have to deselect logicals and errors because I made this formula and it's only going to have numbers and text, but I only want to select the numbers. I do that while it's selected on the home tab, format, row height. Instead of 15, let's make it 31. Click OK. Get rid of this column, Control minus. And now if we look at the print preview, it did the job. Okay. It is, we still have time, so let me keep going. Text to columns. My guess is you've seen this before. If I select this and I want to make it real dates, I can go on the data tab, text to columns. It's not delimited, but it is fixed width, but it doesn't make a difference in this case. I'm just going to click next in each anyway, and I'm going to tell it that it's a date. And in this case, it's year, then month, then day. So I select this. And then the destination, I'll put it here, B1. I click finish, and now I have dates. Now, this was US dates, month, day, year, but you can change it around. I have a question here, little out of context, but can you please let us know how to unhide multiple tabs in a workbook with one click instead of doing one at a time? Is there a way to do it other than using VBA? No, not yet. But on my personal, I have unhide sheets. There aren't any hidden, but I have this multiple checkbox. No, it's right now it's still VBA. It's been a request for a long time to Microsoft. They haven't gotten around to it. Unfortunate. Okay, text to columns, I can split these up. Similarly, data, text to columns. This one is delimited by a space. So I click on space, and you can see that it worked fine. Click finish, there it is. By the way, if you're not familiar with flash fill, I could also do this with flash fill. I can put Bob here and just do flash fill on the data tab, I think. Yeah, it's also Control E, but if I just do that, it knows how to fill it. Now, I capitalized the first one because I typed it with a capital letter. If I did that and UMLAS, let's get rid of this. Oh, it readjusted it right away. Wasn't expecting that. So it's the pattern. If I do all caps for the last name, Aha. And then Control E. Let's get rid of this. Control E. It capitalized the last name. So flash fill is a little cooler. The only downside for flash fill is if this changes, it doesn't change the result because it's not a formula. Okay, double space. Here I have lots of stuff. 850 rows of stuff. And the task is insert a row between each one. In other words, click on this, insert. Click on this, insert, etc. I'm going to undo those. Oops. That will take a long, long time, right? You might even consider writing a VBA script to do that if you know VBA. But I came up with a way that no matter how many rows there are, I could do it faster than VBA can, unless VBA does the same technique I'm about to show you. And I can do it in about 7 seconds, but that wouldn't be instructive. So I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to number these rows. I'm going to type in the number 1. And then, by the way, you probably know that if I just fill this down, I get all 1s. So what most people do is they put in a 1 and a 2, and then select these, and now I get the pattern. But there's another way. If I just put in the number 1 and select the cell to the right, which is blank, as I fill this down, it works. So now I'm going to double click it, and it's all numbered. And I'm now going to copy it, Control C. Control down arrow takes me to the bottom, down 1 cell, and I paste. And I have another set of numbers, 1 to 850. I click on any one of these, and I'm sorting. And we are done. Because it's sorted, the 1, of course, but then the 1 with the blank row that was in row 851 got sorted up here. Then the 2 and the 2 with the blank row. All that's left to do is get rid of this. Cool. I was the president of the USA earlier. I guess it's better than what we would have now. Okay, let's look at hours. In row 6, I have the same formula, the sum of the cells above. But this one is clearly wrong. What happens is hours, when you add them up, it rewraps it when you get to 24 hours. So this is clearly, or this is more likely the right answer, 26 hours. This is 24 hours less than that because it happens to wrap. So how do you add time and get the correct answer? Well, it's all in formatting. If I click on this, well, let's click on this for a moment and go to format the number, and I get H:MM, standard. But this one is formatted with the H in square brackets, which means do not rewrap.
Hello?
Hello? I heard someone say hello.
Can everyone hear?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
You should be muted and put questions in the text chat. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes. Okay, so miscellaneous tips. If you're typing large numbers like a million, you don't have to type and count the zeros. You know a million is 1 times 10 to the 6, so you can type 1e6. And when you hit enter, you get the million. Or if you're typing a billion, you do 1e9. And you get a billion. A little bit easier. You know about the format painter, right? If I take this and I click the format painter, and I click here, it uses it's like copy paste special formats. But clicking again doesn't do it. So if I double click the format painter, to start on the cell I want, double click the format painter, wherever I click, notice that there's a paintbrush next to the cursor. It's still alive. I can get rid of it by either hitting the escape key or clicking on the format painter tool, brush tool again. So I'm hitting the escape key, it's gone. By the way, I have mine in the QAT. It's also over here. If you like to use the format painter and not have to go to the home tab, you can right click on the format painter and do, well, let's do another one. I'll do this. Right click on that, you can add to quick access toolbar, which is what this is at the very top. Mine's dim because I already have it at the top. I already have the format painter. Okay, but you can use the format painter to change shapes too. If I click on this arrow and I click on the format painter and then click on this arrow, voila, we can see that. I'm gonna undo that. And then here I have some comments, but you haven't seen comments like that, have you? Or that? So let me show you how you can change comments. By the way, comments are now called notes. So if I do review, this comment is very different. I'll just do it for a moment. This is not the kind of comment you're used to seeing. I'm going to get rid of it. Comments are now, if you've up, depending on the version you have, now called notes. When I do new note, I get the old type of comment. Here is a demo. Now, you can see the cursor blinking after the word demo. So to change the shape, it won't work. I have to click on the border. So I'm selecting the note itself or comment, and there's no cursor inside. Then I have a quick access toolbar called Change Shape. If I right mouse click and do Customize the quick access toolbar, and then I click on all commands, it'll take a little while to get to it. Okay, so here's all commands. And then in here, someplace in here is change shape. It's alphabetical. There it is, but I already have it. So it won't allow me to put it in. But you need to change shape to do what I'm about to do. So let's change shape. And let's pick out a, well, let's do this arrow, this weird arrow. And there's the shape. Now, while it's selected still by the border, I'm going to do Control-1. And here under colors and lines, I mean, they really hid this. Colors and lines, in the color, fill effects, I can do a picture. Select the picture. I'll get one from Bing search, and I'll search for a tiger. Search for anything. Tiger, there it is. Let's pick this one. Insert. Okay, okay. There's my comment now. Can't read it, but you get the idea. I can make it, Shift F2 will let me in here. Let's make that white. Much bigger and centered, and I want it white. Why isn't it allowing me to do white font? That's funny, it should be a white font. You can see the word here's a demo, but it's not allowing. Come on. Click on that. No. That's weird. Okay, I've done it before with a white font. As you can see, it's a yellow font here and a blue font here. So I don't know what happened. Again, I'm not going to spend time on that. Okay, find backwards. I want to find the last accounting department. Obviously, if I do find and type in ACCTG, find next, it's not going to help. I can search for it manually, but this goes on for a while. If I hold the Shift key down in a find next, notice that it's finding backwards. It's going up. So from that one, find next, it takes me down to the last one. So finding backwards will help. Here's a fun one. If you have an IT department, you can make your IT person scratch their head. What happened to the even row numbers? Where'd they go? So I will show how I did that in a brand new workbook. So I picked arbitrarily cell F2 and I changed it to 120 font, 120 point. Oops, too big. One, come on. Click in here, 120. That's a large font. Unless it widened it to accommodate that font. I select these two and I drag the fill handle. And then every other row is large. So this is 14 point, That's 120 point, 14 point, 120 point. Watch what happens when I close this down. Look at the row 2. That's what happened. So if I select all of it and I change the row, there it goes. So play with that. Question, can find the duplicate? Find the duplicate but not delete it. I'm not sure I follow the question. Time is up. Time is up. Time is up. All right. Thank you. Time is up. So let me close this. I want to thank you for participating. I had quite a few more tips to show, as you can see, because as I said, I'm going to do this for a 2-hour session for London people. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm available for training. You can reach me at bobumlas@hotmail.com. And feel free to ask me any questions on Excel. It'd be nice if you get this book. Many more tips in here that I've covered. And thank you all.
Bob, for your valuable time. Thank you for the participants. And yes, I hope you have enjoyed the session who have participated in the session. And yes, we will, in the coming days, we will also plan for some sort of trainings, corporate in-house trainings or something like online trainings with Mr. Bob as well. So Mr. Bob has written his email ID. You can contact him, you can reach him. Otherwise, we will also be planning for some sort of other trainings, paid trainings for the companies and the individuals in Pakistan, particularly for Pakistan perspective. So we will also be sharing the recording, and you can post, you can like us on our page, Lexicon Education, and with the name of lexicon.org.pk. And we will be sharing the recording on our social media, and we will also be emailing at your emails as well. So once again, Bob, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for the participants who have spared their valuable time.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much, Bob. Thank you, every participants.
Thank you, sir.